Weakness is not in talking about mental health. Strength is talking about mental health. I'm stronger every time I do a show. I'm stronger every time I share my story with somebody. I'm not weaker. I'm not weak because I'm a master sergeant that had mental issues. I'm stronger because I'm a master sergeant that can look a Marine in the eye and say, yo, get some help.
Oh, what's good, world? Wherever you listening from, I appreciate you tuning in. This is the Real Resilience Talk podcast. This is going to be episode 73. That's the number that Rodman wore when he played for the Lakers. I'm just saying. Anyway, to all the
Sure.
haters. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. This is still the Real Resilience Talk podcast. I am still Cam. Y'all are stuck with me. But I have a privilege and a privilege and an opportunity to introduce y'all to an amazing human today. But before I get going, let me tell y'all right now, this show is no reflection of or endorsement from any official organization, to include the Dow Jones, the Dow, the Department of War, the USMC, or any other official organization that you want to place me in, okay? We may speak of them in a positive manner and may endorse them, but they don't endorse us, nor are we speaking as a reflection of them. So get it right, get it straight. The First Amendment will be in full effect. So therefore, you may hear what the society calls a bad word, but I promise you, you're going to hear some good words as well. Plus, besides what society says about bad words, I know some church folks that won't say no bad words, but it make me want to jump off a bridge right now. Just saying. And we're going to get into this thing. We're going to talk about resilience. We're going to speak to an amazing man, a servant, a humble servant, a entertainer, a stand-up comedian, but best of all about this man, he is a father. He is a good man. He is a good American, and he's also a retired Master Sergeant of Marines, the one, the only, the Marine of comedy, y'all. Coming to y'all, we sitting up here parked in a car in California. My man, the one, the only, Marine of comedy, Kevin Davis. How are you today, my brother?
Man, Cam, I'm good, man. I'm good, brother. Just got done doing the show yesterday. Still on that high, when you
Yes,
when you're touching people and changing lives.
yes.
The ride, this 6 hour ride ain't nothing, man. I'm just grooving with my music and just reflecting on what we did, and it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, I'm in the great spirits, bro.
I love it, man. I love it. You talk about impact. Man, you just covered like the whole show right there. That was beautiful. They tell me I need to be more concise, but I ain't as nice as you. But
Right,
before
right.
before I get going, you know me, I'll get on some tangents because I put the high definition in the ADHD. First, I want to tell you thank you. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being a light in this world. Thank you for sharing yourself with the world, being vulnerable. I know we're gonna get into all of that, but before we do, I want to ask you if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, as much as you want to share. And also, I got to ask
Okay,
you the template question: what is resilience to you, my friend?
okay. First, I'll tell you a little bit about me. Kevin Davis. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. A father of three. One son's a Marine. He's in Okinawa right now. I have an older son, 37. Yes, sir, 37, and my youngest is, I like to call him, what the hell was I thinking? But he's 14. I know people be adding up the math. They say, hold up, you 66 and you got a 14-year-old. I like, yeah, I'm still hitting the target. You know what I mean? I'm hitting the target, and I've eliminated the middleman. I'm raising my own grandkids is what I'm doing. Life is good, man. Got in the Marine Corps at 18, stayed into 39. It was the best thing I ever did in my life. It really changed me as a person. It gave me a perspective about life. And then even coming up in school, I was always really small. Comedy was my way to deal. My way of coping was comedy. So I always been funny. Then I just took a little break, like 40 years, and then I got back into it.
40 years. Made
Yeah,
some
about
babies
40
and came
years.
back.
Yeah, came back and then jumped back into comedy at like 50. I think I was 55 when I started doing stand up. Yeah, 55. And then after that, doing the stand up thing and running into Brad and Victoria when I was 64. And that's when we got into the 1 degree of separation about the military health and depression and things like that. And that was definitely a change in my life because it really brought a lot of things forward in my life. Uh, Resiliency. What does that mean to me, man? To me, a person that's resilient is a person that doesn't give up. A person that's always pushing to achieve the goal. Like me, I consider myself resilient when they had to come to get my 100% disability because I retired in 1999. I didn't get it to 2024.
What? So 25 years walking around with 0%.
25 years,
Wow.
10, 20, 40, all the way up. And what made it harder for me is they retired me at 40%. That's all they gave me was 40%. So I could easily walked away with that. And, my Marine mentality was that's what I deserve. I didn't ask for nothing more. This is what I deserve. I did it. I took it and I kept moving. But then I started running into all these Air Force and Navy dudes with shaving bumps. They had 100%. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, 20 years,
Yeah.
my knees is shot, my hips is bad. You know what I mean? I'm all messed up. And now I found out the age, the pits that I possibly may have cancer.
Mm.
So I'm battling all my life. I had to fight. I didn't have a choice because I wasn't going to give up because I think I deserve that. And that's where the resiliency comes into play is I'm not going to quit. That's one of our traits. I know so many veterans who give up, they get tired of it. They don't want to fight no more. You know what I mean? But I'm not one of those. So when I look at resiliency, I look at a person that doesn't quit, a person that does whatever it takes to achieve the goal, no matter what it is, whether it's in family, whether it's in business, whether it's in whatever you do. But you're just a person that's going to give it your all, and you're going to continue to give it your all until the goal is accomplished.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the person people hate.
Yeah.
But that's a person that stays on you. They stay on you till
Yeah.
you get tired of them. And you get tired of me. If you don't get tired of me, I'm not doing my job. That's why I was as a recruiter. As a recruiter, if I didn't irritate you, I wasn't a good recruiter. That's why I was successful.
Yeah.
That's why I was successful. So that, in a nutshell, that's who I am, man.
Yeah.
I'm a resilient fool. You know what I mean? Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, that's a good way of putting it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Had to be.
Yeah.
Had to be, man. If
No
I
choice.
didn't, I would have never got my 100%.
Yeah.
I would have never put in a couple hundred people in the Marine Corps.
Right. Right.
As right now, I don't know if you know a Major Lieutenant General Carter.
Okay. Yes. Yes, sir.
Jerry Carter. I put him in the Marine Corps as a private.
Oh. Don't date
He
yourself
called
now.
me. No, he called me. He been in 40 years.
General. 40. Wow.
3-star. He called me 3 weeks ago and invited me to go to Paris Island with him.
That's amazing.
He wanted me to go down, and he just wanted to thank me for directing his career because I not only put him in the Marine Corps, but I also showed him how to become an officer. I set up a plan for him to follow, and he followed it to the T. He went from private to lieutenant, and now lieutenant general.
Oh man, that's
pretty impressive.
Talk about, but I'm gonna just quote myself, something I say all the time. I got it tatted on my arm, and I know you know it because I've shown you it. But Jim Carrey, Jim Carrey, a fellow comedian, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. You are so wealthy, bro. Like to have that kind of impact, to have that kind of effect on somebody who's now, think about the ripple effect, just him. And I know there's many others, to include myself, you've had an impact on, and so many others. But what a ripple effect. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And he said that I never treated him like a number.
Yes.
He said I never treated. He always said and his family liked me. And this is some secret. I'm going to tell you some real killer stuff. He had to trust me to a point that I had to put him in open contract. Now let me explain what that means.
I know firsthand.
As a recruiter, nobody wants to get put in open contract because they know where you're going to end up. 9 times out of 10. Combat option. Let's call it like it is. But I knew he was so smart that I couldn't put him in the job that he needed to get. That could only happen through recruit training. So he had to trust me. And I said, listen, I'm going to put you in for 6 years in an open contract. And his mom and dad said, wait a minute, he's not going to have a job? I said, listen, they're going to find him in boot camp. They're going to retest him, and he's going to go into intelligence. I'm telling you right now. And then after that, the sky's the limit. So his mom said, Sergeant Davis, we're going to trust you. We're going to trust you. Jerry said, look, I'll trust you. So he goes to boot camp. Of course, the drill instructor say your recruiter screws you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He put you in 6 years open contract. Now, why did I put him in 6 years? Because if I would have put him in 4, he'd have never got intelligence. Mm. The Marine Corps is not going to waste that much schooling on a Marine that's only got 4 years. By putting him in 6, I opened him up to everything available. And guess what he got? Intel. Man. Went to Intel. 2 years later, I see him. He got a beard. He got an afro. I'm like, what's going on, Jerry? He said, I'm undercover. I'm in Europe working.
Yeah, that's
and then after that, he went.
That's a really.
Oh my goodness!
Them Marines work hard. But yeah, you definitely see him with some. I'm not gonna say they don't look like Marines, but they don't have to shave, they don't have the hair because they're
No,
doing some
they don't have to
secret
do none of
ops.
that.
That's amazing.
And he did that. And then the next year he was at Morehouse College and he graduated from Morehouse, went back in as a second lieutenant,
Yeah.
and boom, that's his story. But his story, he is no more important to me than any other Marine I put in as a recruit. And I told him that. I said, you achieve greatness, but every Marine I put in, I felt they could achieve greatness within their limits of their life, whatever their goals were. So everybody I put in, it meant something to me. They were still somebody important. I don't know a number. I don't know number 100, number 440. You know what I mean? I know Melvin Carter. I know Troy Keys. I know, all these people by their names.
Yes.
And they still know me to this day because they all meant something to me and their families meant something to me. So recruiting was important to me to just change lives at that point. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So that's
sir.
why I started with this of giving back.
I love that because and a lot of people, if you're out there listening and you're thinking about, what I don't know what I'm going to do with my life or anything like that. I'm not a recruiter, but I am an ambassador, and I'm going to tell you right now the level of education that you can get while you serve your country in the Marine Corps or any other branch of service. But if you want to be the best, come on, come rock with us. But the
Exactly.
level of education you get. And I'm not talking about book education. You can get some of that as well, and you'll get tuition assistance. But the life experience that you will actually gain in being in service and being around other people that are like-minded or that may be totally different from you, the locations you'll go, the level of just tolerance and acceptance and knowledge you'll get culturally of other cultures you've never been exposed to. I can't think of a
Mm-hmm.
better 4-year education that any young American can ever get. Plus, it's all in the name of service. You get in where you fit in, and if you want to stay longer than that, great for you. But I'm telling you, young people out there, if you really, one of the things I love right now, talking about recruiting specifically, they have that poster and it just says, it shows like Marines in the background, but it has a search bar, like a cute, like a URL bar on a browser,
Mm-hmm.
and it says it's searching, and it says purpose, and it's got the little the little tick mark for where the word be, because people are searching for purpose. I promise you,
Mm-hmm.
if you do it right and you get the right leadership, you remember what you're protecting, which is our way of life, the Constitution, you will find purpose. You will find an education you can't find nowhere else in our Marine Corps. I'm sorry. All right. That's it.
No, 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 no. But it's important to say that because when people ask me, you let your son go in.
Yeah, me
I
too.
didn't let my son do nothing.
That's right.
I ain't let my son do nothing. My son made that choice on his own.
That's right.
And I looked him straight in the eye and said, listen, man, don't do this because your dad did it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they start kicking your ass, you need to remember why you're here. You need to know your why.
Your why.
And he said, Dad, the reason I want to do this, because every Marine I met around you had their stuff together.
Wow, that's
They
deep.
were sharp. They were educated. They were squared away. He said, and every time I seen them, I was just proud. And I wanted to be like that. I said, son, we good.
Yeah,
You good.
that's
You got
amazing. And
this.
he's still
And
in.
that was our
He's still in the Marines.
conversation. Yeah, he having a great time, man. Living his life. Just hike Mount Fuji
What?
couple about a month ago. He said
That
he ain't gonna do
that
that
mount
again, but
that mount will let you
yeah,
know who you are, who you aren't for the day. I tell you that much.
that's what he said. He's 20 years old in great shape, and he said that. He said, I ain't never doing that again.
Yeah, that
But
altitude
his
sickness
unit,
is real.
that's what he said. He said he got me a souvenir though, so that's all right. He got me a rock or something from up there, and
Yeah,
that's cool. But yeah, man, it's just you right. That 4 years, whether you come in for 4 or 20, I never planned on doing 20. I was just gonna do 4 and get out.
same.
But it changed my life, man. I got to see so much and meet so many cool people. I was like, why go back to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, man? When I can go to
Yeah, yeah,
California, I can go to Florida, I can go to Japan, I can go to Philippines, Korea, Norway. Come on.
yeah.
I'm the
No,
person I am because of the Marine Corps. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
right. That's right. And then you wind up. I'm sure you went to the juncture as well, being a staff and CEO of Masson E8 for those who don't understand. And I hung around too. Like it gets to a point where you don't really stay around for you no more. You stay around for them because you love them.
Yeah,
You love the Marines,
yeah,
and you feel like you could be a buffer, or you could be there to enhance their transformation of being a Marine, sustain the transformation, be there for them because the truth is, and I don't want to say anything to bring any error or any shame or any shade to the Marine Corps, but I tell people all the time, some of the best people I've met in the world are Marines. And I tell people all the
yeah.
time, some of the worst people I've met in the world, they're Marines too. So we got all
There it
types of
is.
different people. We, just because
Yes,
you're a
we
Marine
do.
doesn't mean you automatically just like this good person, right? So you may find yourself serving with somebody who's not always, what you expected, but that's where you that's where you, like you said to your son, you got to know your why, and you got to serve. Because sometimes you get stuck in bad places and bad spaces with bad humans, and they happen to be Marines, and it just is what it is. And you got to still adapt, adjust, and what you said, do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes. So
to accomplish that goal. And he understands that.
yeah.
It's as simple as him finally understanding why I made him make his bed every day. It took him a while to get that. And he would always say, man, Dad, why are you so picky about the house being clean and the bed being made? You worry about what people think? I said, no, son, let me tell you why you make your bed. Then one day, I didn't tell him. He came home one day, he said, I get it. I said, what do you get? He said, I get it. Making my bed was my first task to accomplish for the day. Boom. I said, now you got it.
And now Admiral McCurdy, now you get it. He got a book called "Make Your Bed."
He did.
You know, Navy SEAL.
Make your bed.
That's commander.
That's what that's about. Yes, it's about making that bed. And I tell people, you look at somebody's car, and it'll tell you about their life.
That's a fact.
Look in their car.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you if they got this outside looking good, but the inside they ate up.
Yeah.
Because that's how they live their lives too. They want you to see that surface is beautiful, nice, shiny. But you open the door, open up the hood, it's a mess. Yeah, and that's what I tell my son. Everywhere. And that's what I tell my son. So he gets it now. Him and his older brother, they get it. My youngest, he ain't figured out nothing yet. You know, he's still.
Yeah, we still working on. Yeah. I told you. I stole it from Tom Segura, but you know, I love my son. He's a good young man too. But I make a joke about him because you know my oldest is a Marine as well, and then I got a 4-year-old. I got me one of them COVID babies, so I got me a little terrorist. And that was what was I thinking? But that was because of COVID. But then I got my middle son. I stole it from Tom Segura, but he said, you know, he's just still trying to figure out shit like don't stare at the sun too long. You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding, bro. I'm kidding. I love you, man.
Yeah.
But hey, but you know, I was listening to something today in Bernie Mac's book talking about a comedian. He was talking about how nature's got it right. He was like, you think that a dandelion or a sunflower stares at the tree and compares themselves? How much longer did it take that tree to grow into that? You know what I mean? So people come at their own pace. But for us to sit here and compare in a negative way, to be inspired, that's cool. But to compare yourself in a negative way, nah, that ain't it.
No, it's not. And I don't try to compare myself with nobody. The only person I'm in competition is me.
Amen.
Because I don't know how they got where they got there. I don't know who they knew or what they did. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people that's probably more talented than me or less talented than me that's doing more than me or less than me. But I don't have time to worry about that.
Yeah.
I worry about me. I worry about what I do, how I'm perceived, how I do what I'm supposed to do. Yeah.
That's enough in itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Talk about know yourself,
for sure.
Improvement. I think Marine Corps principle I know is I live by now. Know yourself and know how to deal with your crazy self, and that's hard enough, right? But I want to ask you about. I'm gonna tee you up right quick for a little alley oop. But you know how they talk about some people born to be Marines. What you think about that?
I wasn't.
It's so
no, bro. Let me tell you something, man. I got in the Marine Corps. I had a couple friends that was gangsters, real gangsters in Pennsylvania. And I was heading down the wrong road, you know what I mean? So I sat down one day and I looked at these manuals. And I looked at who had the shortest boot camp. It was the Air Force. And I said, I'm going in the Air Force. I ain't know nothing about them, but I knew it was 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. I eliminated the Army. I eliminated the Navy. And I said, Marines is crazy. And nobody in my family was a Marine. Only my uncles was 2 Air Force and my other uncle was Army. So I was like, okay, Air Force is the way to go. So I go to the Air Force recruiter. I'm clocking in about 98 pounds, 5'6". So I go in, I pass the ASVAB, but I was underweight by 18 pounds, right? So I go back in, and the guy says, listen, man, it's December. You come back in August, and we can put you in. Well, you know, in the inner city, 8 months, you could die in 8 months. You could die overnight. So 8 months is way too long to wait. And then I had this epiphany. I was like, why am I going in the Air Force? I'm going in the Air Force because it's easy. The reason I'm probably going down the wrong track is because I've always took the shortcuts. I've been taking the shortcuts all my life. I said, I'm going to do the opposite of what I thought I would do. I'm going to do the absolute opposite. And I joined the Marines.
Wow.
That's the God's truth. It had nothing to do. I didn't know we had aviation. I knew nothing. I knew the Marine Corps was the hardest. That's what I knew. And a friend of mine named Dave Franklin, who I was jealous of back then, because he had the car, he had the 77 Seville, he had the girls, you know, I ain't had nothing. I didn't have a bike, you know what I mean? And he had the girls, he had all that. And he was from another part of not our city, but outside. And all of us in the city hated him because he was pulling all the fine cheerleaders that we had, you know what I mean? So none of us liked Dave Franklin, but he was yeah, yeah. So Dave was Corporal Dave Franklin with a Monte Carlo. He had a Monte Carlo, he had a Seville, you know what I mean? I'm like, this dude's killing the game. Well, I went and seen him because I had already tested, you know, for the Air Force. So I had a pretty good score. So we got to talking, and he said, man, when you want to leave? I said, I don't know. He said, can you leave in 2 weeks? Well, I think I'm skinny. I'm in pretty good shape, but skinny don't mean good shape, not Marine Corps shape.
Right.
So I was like, hell with it. Let's do it. So we ready to go to Paris Island. He gets a call that they short 2 people. They need to go to San Diego. So that was the selling point right there. I said, I get to go to San Diego?
So you from PA?
I ain't even thinking about
you got to
PA,
go to
San Diego.
Oh,
me and my best friend.
Yeah.
Me and my best friend, Sterl Pettis.
Yeah.
So we go on the buddy plan. We both get to go to San Diego.
That's great.
That's how we ended up in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And I had a waiver. I had to gain 10 pounds in 2 weeks. I had to get up to 108.
Double rat recruit.
I was double rats, and then to graduate, I had to be at 138. And I graduated at 139.
Yeah.
Crazy as hell. Yeah. They would have kept me in San Diego for being underweight. Ain't that ridiculous?
It is. It's funny.
But no, I wasn't born to be a Marine. Yeah. I wasn't born to be a Marine, bro. Let me just tell you that.
Yeah.
Some people are.
Yeah.
And some people think because you did 20 years, you planned it that way. No, mine went on epiphany. I joined the Marine Corps because I wanted to change my life.
Yeah.
And the best way to change it was to go the opposite of what I had been doing in my life, and that was to take the easy route. And the Marine Corps was going to be the hardest challenge I ever did in my life.
No,
that's why I did it.
I love it that you shared that, because somebody out there listening, they're like, oh, we got 2, Marine veterans on here. I think sometimes we glorify people, right? But when you go, oh my God, but Kevin, he's so squared away. He's got it all together. It kind of, when you make it's great because it sounds like you're praising you, right? But it also takes me off the hook because you're obviously something special. I'm not. But when somebody like you or like me, who's accomplished things and done 20 plus years in the Corps, can say, man, I sucked. And oh man, I wasn't ready for that. And I wasn't born for this. I think it levels the playing field, because I think some people use it as a cop-out when we're like, oh my God, Michael Jordan, he's just so talented. But do you understand the work ethic that it took? Like, he wasn't just blessed, right? Obviously, there's some blessings in there. We had a capable body to be able to join, capable mind. But on the same note, it takes some hard work. And I think I want us to say it in 2 parts, because for those of you who think you can't, you'd be surprised what you can do when you want to do something.
Right.
But then on the other side, to those who are holding back and saying, well, I'm not special, I'm not Kevin Davis. No, but you could be whoever you are and be the best version of you. And actually, Kevin Davis, and that's just shared it, he ain't have it all together neither. We figure it out. And we
not even close, bro. Not even close to having it together. And when I look back, when I look back at the decision I made, it was it was just exactly what I told you. It had nothing. I didn't know when I got my job in ordnance. I didn't know Marines had planes, bro. I'm telling you honestly. I'm in boot camp.
Yeah.
And they tell me my MOS, and I was like, well, what's that job?
Yep.
And the drill instructor said, well, you gonna be loading bombs on planes. I was like,
okay, we got planes.
Yeah, ain't that the Air Force? You know what I mean? And he's like, no, you dumbass. You know what I mean?
Air by land by sea. You know the song.
Right. I don't know. You know what I mean? This is all new to me. Yeah. I'm just happy graduating. You know what I mean? I'm just happy graduating boot camp.
Yes.
And then to be blessed to have a job in aviation, and then work in marine aviation and being around F4 jets. Oh man, it was a dream come true. I swear to God, I loved waking up smelling a jet engine burning. That smell, oh my God, bro, that was the highlight for me. So now I'm like, I go to museums and look at planes, and I know a bunch of them now because I learned a lot. But man, it was such an eye-opening experience. But no, I didn't have it together when I walked in the door. I wasn't even close.
Yeah,
I am built by Marine Corps. I am definitely built by Marine Corps. Same. My mannerisms, even 20 years after being out, my mannerisms are still the same. Mm-hmm. I don't litter. I don't do a lot of things because I'm a Marine, and I will always be a Marine. And I carry myself that way all the time. It never is out of me. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's just my mannerisms. This is who I am. Remember this. I went in at 18. I retired at 39. The Marine Corps is my adult life. when I became a man was in the Marine Corps. It didn't happen in the streets. So I don't have those excuses. You know what I mean?
No, I do. I do 1000%, and I totally relate to it. I know you've had your own unique experience. I've had mine, but let me just tell you, I'm smelling what you're stepping in because I came in this at 17 and 20 some years of it, and it's the same math with me, and I'm grateful for it. And I tell everybody all the time, um, I'm the product of patience and good leadership
Mm-hmm.
and grace. That's what I'm the product of
There it is.
with Marine leaders.
All three.
Yeah. And peers who have checked me. I mean, my wife's a Marine. She checks me. Even my kids are Marine. She'll check me if she needs to, you know what I mean? But it doesn't leave me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not such a bad thing. I think some people, when they leave, they try to remove themselves so much from it, but it's in you. You can't take it out. But also at the same time, like, is it so bad to be known as a Marine or to be known as something so prestigious? Like, think about this. Gal Gadot, she's an amazing actress, okay? But no matter what she does, we know that she's going to be Wonder Woman forever.
Yeah,
Stallone
forever.
is always going to be Rocky or Rambo. Like,
Rocky, no matter what he do.
is there a worse thing to be known about than to be a Marine? I don't think so. And I love how you
I
embrace it
think,
as a veteran to say,
yeah,
not only am I a comedian, but I'm the Marine of comedy. And you
yeah,
embrace it, but it's not just like, hey, feel sorry for me, wave your yellow flag and support the troops by giving me courtesy laughs. You still earning it, but at the same time, you ain't denying it and you ain't ashamed of it, or you're not trying to distance yourself. And I love that, man. I love that for somebody doing that in the next chapter of their life.
yeah. Well, it's a big part of my life. And to deny it would be ridiculous because that's one of the biggest parts that made me who I am. That's what created Kevin Davis. Shirley Davis birthed me and she raised me to 17. But then when I went away from that, I wasn't a man when I left there at 17 years old. I was still a kid. I was still 17. I was still 18. I was 98 pounds. I was still, puberty hadn't even hit. I was 5'11", 180 a year later.
That's
So
crazy.
all my growth happened in the Marine Corps.
Quite literally,
Yeah, I
too.
went in. Yeah, I went in with a 26-inch waist. I had the waist of an anorexic runway model. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know where they found a uniform to fit me, bro. To be honest,
Yeah.
because I was still wearing a 14 Husky. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I told somebody. I said I was the only one in San Diego wearing camis designed by Oshkosh B. Gosh. Because that's. I don't know where they got them little camis, bro. Because I was little, bro. And we had they was all men's size.
Yeah, yeah,
I couldn't fit no man's size.
yeah.
I was wearing 14 Husky when I went in the Marine Corps.
We need to
I
bring
was still
that shit
shopping at
back
the boys
in modern
department.
society. We
Yeah.
gotta bring back Husky. Remember the Husky section?
But listen, I'm 98 pounds, but I'm 14 Husky. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
proud of that.
Yeah, 14H.
I'm proud of that.
You can start a
Yeah, yeah,
DJ name. 14H, what's up?
yeah.
What? What is he? Is
14
he in the gang?
Husky.
Nah,
That's
14
what
Husky,
that's
dog.
what I was.
That's my size.
Yes, sir. They weren't just 14. They was 14 Husky. You see? I wasn't even at 16, but that's true story. True story. I was still shopping in the boys department, bro.
Wow.
Seriously. So
I,
yeah,
I
but
wasn't that far behind you, man. I was double rats recruit too, and now I'll be teetering the weight limits. You know what I'm saying?
I mean I got I got overweight probably 9 months out the Corps, and that was when after because I think that's when the depression and stuff hit. See, this is the tricky part. So you do great in there. You got that structure, and it holds you down. But once you got out, and all those vices that you put away, that you stored, that you blocked, they all come out because you no longer have that Marine Corps protecting you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor making you do what you're supposed to do. So now I got out, and I never acknowledged my depression. You know what I mean? I just had all the habits of a depressant. You know what I mean? That I was depressed, but I never admitted it. So I never got help for it. So getting out was really hard for me because I love being a Marine, but they basically put me out, for my knees. I wasn't ready to get out, but I didn't have a choice. And they put me out at 40%, which is only $800 a month. So that means I had to find another job. So now getting out as a Marine, when your job is hanging bombs on the aircraft, that job don't transfer to the civilian world.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're taking this rejection of your job. You're taking the rejection of getting put out the Marine Corps, and then you're dealing with the VA trying to get you. And it was a lot.
Yeah.
And I went into a severe depression. Severe. Oh yeah, it was heavy, bro. It was heavy. I got up to about, I started weighing myself at 235. I had a 333 sugar and 11.6 A1C. I could have had a heart attack at that with those numbers as a diabetic. I was pushing myself to death, basically, just not even realizing what I was doing because I wouldn't acknowledge it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't acknowledge it. I wouldn't talk about it.
Suck it up.
I was proud, you know. That's what I did, and I sucked it up right almost into my grave. Yeah, I was that close. When I went into the VA and they ran my stuff, they said, "Boy, 333." That's what the doctor said. He said, 333, 11.6. You a diabetic. I said, but then I knew I did it to myself. You know what I mean? I did it to myself. But that was a hard pill to swallow because you were so squared away. That's another part of the depression. You know what I mean? Because you remember what you used to be, what you used to do, and now you're this miserable person just getting through life, basically. You know what I mean? So it was quite a switch, man. It was quite a switch.
Yeah, no, I hear, I talk a lot about this awesome Marine. Anybody out there listening, look him up. But Garrett Biss, he's a Mustang as well, and he's amazing. But he talks about the trauma that all veterans face is that we lose our cam. I'm not being a narcissist, it's just a way to remember it, right? But we lose our connection, our authenticity, and our meaning when we depart service. And no matter if you stayed in 40 years, 4 years,
All of
20
it.
years, whatever, like you lose that connection, that authenticity, and that meaning. And that could be a trauma because it influences like now how you view things, how you believe things. And not to mention you're already hurting because you lost those things to some degree. So like how was that transition? And like basically what I'm saying is losing the tribe. Like how was that?
It was hard. It was really hard because that camaraderie, what you're going to miss the most when you finally retire is the camaraderie. You'll never have the friends you got like you got Marines. You'll never have somebody have your back, and you'll chase that. You'll chase that for the rest of your life. I'm telling you that right now. You'll chase it, and it's not going to be there. It will be hard to find the same job that has the prestige and the title that you got in the Marine Corps. That's the challenge. That's another challenge. You see what I mean? So you got all these things coming at you. And again, we are not the most transferable job. Marine Corps is not for the civilian world. You know, if your main job is killing people, how many jobs do that?
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. And so when you go look to an employee, it's going to take you 5, 6, 7 jobs before you settle into a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people are not ready for that.
They say the average veteran
They're not ready
changes
for it.
jobs like 5 or 8 times or
6,
something like that. Yeah.
5 to 6. Yes. Yes, absolutely. And you will just and the rejection, the loss of the prestige, the loss of who you were, the ribbons and everything you've accomplished, they don't care about it in the civilian world. They may acknowledge you being a veteran, and that's it. They don't know what a master sergeant is. They don't know what a captain is. You know what I mean? They don't know. Yeah. And guess what else they don't? They don't care.
Nah, that's true.
And for you, it's a hard pill to swallow, man. Trust me. You know, you're rebuilding yourself, rebranding yourself, everything. You know what I mean? So I got out, I think I had 5 or 6 jobs before I went into voc rehab. So I went into voc rehab and got a degree in graphic arts. And then I got hired by a TV station in San Diego. But while I was doing that, I'm still battling with the VA about my rating.
Yeah. And then like
you know what I mean?
While I'm to like like you never really addressed the depression and you never addressed certain things.
No, I never addressed it. No. Yeah. So I wasn't trying to get for depression. I wasn't trying to get for PTSD. I was trying to get for what I deserved, which was my knees and my hips and my ankles and all that. And they were rejecting me. They were saying not service connected, you know. So now I got these battles all over, just, you know what I mean? And it's just, you just taking a beating. You know, you mentally taking a beating. And I'm sitting there and working, I'm delivering mail during the day. I'm going to school at night from 6 to 10. And I'm raising my sons as a single parent. Yeah, I was depressed. Yeah. But they never seen it. I could never let them see that. I could never let them see that their father was struggling. You know what I mean? I got to be that guy. But that also contributed to my depression. Yeah, it does. Was always having to be that shining light, to be the funny guy for everybody, to always be the positive guy. And all of that, man, it wears on you, bro. It just wears. And then one day, if you don't get help, you're gonna snap.
Yes.
And you see it in society,
Yeah, you do.
either through suicides or when you hear a veteran snap and start shooting people and doing all this other crazy stuff because we keep so much inside that we don't talk about. And eventually that is going to break. It's got to go somewhere. That pressure has got to go somewhere. And normally it's in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It goes against your kids. It goes against your wife because you can't be good for them because you're not being good for yourself. So all that outside pressure that you taking, you bring it back to them. And that's where I was, man. And then I had to deal with my abandonment issues that I never knew I had. You know what I mean? Like, bro,
Mm-hmm.
it was a lot, man. It was a lot.
Yeah,
It
no,
was a lot.
I love that you emphasize though that like it's essentially, don't suppress it, express it, let it out because it's gonna go somewhere.
Yes.
Like if you
Yeah.
don't, what I say oftentimes in Marines, and I've lived this myself, man, is if you don't deal with your mess or deal with your shit, it deals with you, and that's just the way it is. But like you said, like
It
you gotta,
is.
it's gonna go somewhere, and I think a lot of us, especially Marines, because what the civilian world calls suppressing your emotions, we call that maintaining military bearing, um,
That's it.
and and that adds up, and then the person you are to others, that's kind of the thing that the world doesn't see. You can put on a face, you can put on a front while you go to the shop or you go to the job. When you come home, man, a human being can only take so much. And even though you're Marine and you're resilient and you're strong and all these kind of things, like if you don't deal with it, it's going to deal with you, and that may unintentionally make you have to deal with others in a way that you wouldn't want to.
And the wife or the people as close to you are the ones going to catch it.
That's it. Yeah.
They're going to catch it because they're the closest ones. You don't mean it, but you can't do it everywhere else. So there's your vent, your kiss. You know what I mean? Littlest thing, it just drives you over the edge. And everybody, I can't say everybody, but a lot of people I talk to always say that about our veterans, their husbands, that they can't talk to them. I know why. Because I was that guy. I suppressed everything. I kept everything close. I never talked about nothing. So how can I expect you to help me when I don't even share with you what I'm going through?
Mm-hmm.
So we put an unrealistic expectation on our wives and our spouses when you can't help me because I never gave you what I'm going through.
She ain't no
You
mind
don't
reader.
support
He
me.
ain't
Of
no mind
course I
reader.
can't support you. Right. I can't support you. I don't even know what you're going through. Because now that I think back on it, I never told you what I was going through.
Yeah, guilty.
I just was going through it on my own, expecting you to just love me. Well, how can you love me when I barely touch you? I'll have sex with you, but I ain't gonna touch you. And it's two different sides of the brain again. Now the woman feels like she's being used, or the man feel like he's just being used, and that's the feeling. But that's who I was, in a nutshell. That's exactly who I was. I was a great partner. I could help you go to college. I could help you get your benefits. I can make your life great. I just not a good partner.
Mm.
You see what I mean? When it came to getting things done with you, or any woman I've ever dated, I would say had a better life after me. And I don't mean because I was bad,
Mm-hmm.
because I helped them achieve what they wanted to achieve. It was easier for me to put the energy to them than to me.
Yeah.
I always thought they had the problem and I needed to fix them. I never looked at myself as
Yeah,
the
guilty right
problem.
there. Yeah,
The
yeah,
only
yeah.
common denominator
Yeah.
was me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only common denominator was me. And it took years for me to realize that it was me. It wasn't them. It was absolutely me. I sabotage relationships because you're not gonna hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna leave you before you hurt me. Trust
Mm-hmm.
me. I'm gonna leave you. I'll walk away from you. But I've already had enough pain growing up of somebody abandoning me, and I'm not gonna allow you to do that to me. So even in marriage, I was looking for a way out. As soon as I started caring too much, my defenses come up,
Yeah.
and I got to figure out a way to get out of here. And I would. And that's real depression. You know what I mean? That's the real deal.
I just want to tell you thank you for sharing that, man, because I think a lot of our brothers and sisters are in that right now, right? They're going through that, or even what you said about we get addicted to service, and I think all of us have a little bit of superhero complex, messiah complex, all of us as service members. But it's also like a way to avoid your own stuff because you're like, I'm gonna
Yes,
make this person better, and I'm gonna, but once you're doing that, you're like, all right, well, job is done. This is getting too emotional. I'm not showing myself, so bye bye. I've seen that
I got
with
I got I got to
countless
cut I got to
countless.
cut it.
Yeah,
Yes. I got to get away. I got to get away. And it's easy to help others because you don't perceive that you got a problem. You know what I mean? Like
Yes, yes,
I'm
yes.
a fixer, but I never looked at myself. My girlfriend I was with for 8 years. I loved her to death, I think. And when we broke up, she looked at me and she said, and I never forget it. She said, "I'm tired of just being Kevin's girlfriend."
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what that meant. And I was like, "So you're not supporting me?" And she says, "No, I'm tired of being engulfed with your life. That everything is about you."
Mm.
And again, I said, "But I supported your fashion. I got you a car. Listen to all the stuff I'm saying that I did. None was emotional.
Mm.
Everything I did was I helped you go to school. You got your fashion degree. I did all that. But emotionally, it was about me.
Mm.
I needed to be the center of attention no matter what happened, whatever took place. It was about me. So when she said she was tired of being just my girlfriend, it was that I needed all that attention. And now that I understand it, she was 100% right. She was 1,000. And if I look at my childhood, the sports I played was always individual sports. So I could get the
Yeah, yeah.
comedian. Who gets the
Oh,
accolades after a good
okay.
set? I do.
Yeah.
Actor. I do. Tennis player. I do. What position did I play on the football team? Quarterback.
Quarterback, quarterback,
Why?
quarterback. Yeah.
Because who gets, thank you.
Yeah.
So all my life, I have been that. The cars,
Mm-hmm.
the clothes,
Mm-hmm.
the flashy. Me 1,000%. I always needed that because I think growing up and not having a father to say, hey, good job, son, or great job, son, I have been looking for validity all my life.
Mm.
I have been trying to validate who I am my whole life. And I'm talking about from a kid, being a class clown, playing tennis, doing all those individual things. Whatever brought me attention, I was there. I needed that.
Mm.
Even when I did national commercials, as soon as I got done with one commercial, I never took a moment to enjoy it. I move on to the next thing because once that wore down and you were the hero on the set for the commercial, and then once that's over, guess what? I need it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go out searching. I never would take the time. I always needed that light, man. And now I don't need that light. My
Yeah.
light now is helping other people. My light comes from a different way. If you took this car and took the emblems off of it, I wouldn't give a goddamn.
Yeah.
It'd just be a white car. Back then, it mattered that it was a BMW. Back then, it mattered what type of shoes I wore. It mattered what type of watch I wore. It mattered because it mattered to me because that gave me validity in life. That showed that I was successful. So now I don't judge people so much when I see them driving a car that I think they can't afford because in their mind, they want to be considered successful.
Mm-hmm.
And that car or that watch or that Gucci belt, whatever it is, makes them feel some success. I understand that now.
Yeah.
I didn't before.
Yeah.
I was critical of people, and now I understand I was that person. I just could afford it. But that's because you can afford it doesn't make it right. I was just able to get those things and live that lifestyle and get that attention. But people who are poor want the same attention. They probably grew up the same way I did without a father, without this, without that. And they're still trying to get their validity in life and say, I'm successful. Look at me, I'm successful. Because that's all I wanted out of life to just somebody to tell me, hey, man, great job. You're doing a great job. And I never got that from a father. So I have lived my life chasing that, even up to 64 years old. But at 64, when I learned about me, I don't chase it no more, bro. I don't chase it at all.
Just let it be.
Now, with let it be. What I do, my actions speak for me now.
That's right.
Not my clothes, not my car, my actions. That's why I felt like I dropped a 300-pound pack off my back when I started being open about me. Oh my God, it changed my life, bro. And I actually went and I apologized to the women that I dated. Called every one of them and I told them I apologize for the person I was because now I understand who I was and I do apologize because I wasn't the man that I came in acting like because in the end I didn't realize how bad I was.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a lot. You
No,
know
it
what I
takes a
mean?
ton, but it's hard to identify to see that without I think maturity and without really hitting some breaking points in your life because let's be honest, everything you just described of what your symptoms were are actually things that we endorse, things that we applaud, things that we are like, yeah, do it more. And you know, you could turn into like a puppy chasing your tail on the floor, and you chasing the wind, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in a sense. That's not to, you know, undermine or discount anything that you've done as far as accomplishments, but the why, like you said earlier about joining and things of that nature. I tell you what, I identify with you more than I can even tell you as far as what you just described, because that validation is, or just, you know, I even heard Jay-Z talk about in the song. He's like, what are you so addicted to? And he was like, love. I can't get enough of it, right? And like he says that it's a song Monster that's on
Mm-hmm.
Kanye's album. And he talks about love. He can't get enough of it, you know, and it's because you're like searching for it, but it's hard to recognize until you really
Mm-hmm.
take what you did and take a real deep look at yourself, because chasing it and everything that comes along looks like, oh man, this is a successful dude, man, he just driven, but really you're trying to fill a void. You can't see the whole, you know, if you see a
Bingo.
cheerleader, if you
And
see,
it's a
you
big
know,
voice.
anything else,
Right.
yeah, it's obvious, but in this
You
case
understand it. But
it's not,
chasing that,
and it's like a
yeah,
slow burn.
yeah, chasing that validity, chasing that acceptance, and you always chasing it. You know what I mean? Because you're not happy with you. And even when you think you've accepted and and I think the lady one day she called me a maladaptive. I had maladaptive coping skills. That's what she said. And I said, well, what does that
I'm gonna write
actually
that
mean?
shit
She said,
down.
you're a person that feels, yeah. She said, you're a person that fills your void for a need with buying things for yourself. You buy things and it gets you that high. And then you're happy for a little bit. And then you got to buy something else. It will never end. You know what I mean? She said, it will never end. And I looked at her and I said, oh my God, she got me.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. That's me 1,000%. Just putting on something new, you know what I mean? Something expensive just makes you feel good. You got a closet full of clothes, but you go out and you buy something that you don't need, but you feel I got to have it to make me feel good today.
True.
Whew,
Yeah,
brother, I was that guy.
that's true.
Man, she hit me on
All
the
the
money.
while
She
we
said,
stuck in the
she said,
matrix.
maladaptive coping. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's real, man.
But
But
but coming
go
out of
ahead.
it is beautiful though, brother. Shit.
Yeah.
I don't do it
What
no
about
more.
somebody out
I don't
there?
buy things just to buy it.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I think we
Go
have a
ahead.
delay. I'm sorry.
No, no.
No, there's put it like this. What you just shared, there's more of us like you than not. Um, what advice on that tip? Like as far as and I guess stopping the burning house while there's just a room on fire, while there's just, you know, the porch is on fire. In that analogy for somebody out there who's doing that same thing, and honestly a lot of them are in service, because it casts a mask over you having to recognize you because you're representing this. um I might be asking for a friend, but I might be that friend, wink wink, you know.
Yeah. Well, my advice is this. What got me to this point was those 5 questions we do in 1 degree of separation,
Shout out 1 degree of
which is the first
separation.
question. Yeah, 1 degree of separation. The first question we ask is, what does depression feel like? Cool question. It makes it physical. It makes, you know, so I was like, I've never answered that question before. So that was brand new to me. And then when I answered it, it made sense. Like, you know, the shortness of breath, the pressure on your chest, the forgetting how to breathe. And then mine is chronic pain because my PTSD is chronic pain. So
Hmm.
for me, now it became real. I was like, okay, this is real. This is not, you know, something I can just snap out of it. And then the second question is, what do others do to make it worse? Whew, man, that's when I learned about abandonment. I
Mm.
never thought about abandonment. But when I start thinking about my life and taking that question in consideration, it started out with, okay, what do others do to make it worse? Okay, they blow off the fact that you may have depressed, like, hey, you ain't really doing it. Shake it off, get a drink. You know what I
We
mean?
all going
But
through
as
it,
I
Kevin.
start
What's your
peeling,
problem?
right, I start peeling away the layers, and it went back to childhood
Mm.
and not having a father in my life and always needing to be validated. So if you answer that question honestly, you're going to find a problem. I'm telling you. If you answer that question from your heart and don't be afraid of the answer, it's going to be good. The next question is, what do others do to make it better? And when I look at that question, I was like, okay, my 3 sons, not having a father, I had a choice. I could be a father like him. I could be a great father. I chose to be a great father. So what that did for me, again, it made me dig deep again and say, okay, where did these feelings come from? You know what I mean? And then compassion, people who give compassion for me, people who care beyond the how you doing. The people that goes, yo, like you call me and say, how you doing, Top? I'm good. No, how you really doing? You feel what I'm saying? That's the difference right there. That follow-up question, no, bro. I get it, but how you really doing? Because I'm sensing and looking at you, something's off. That's the real people, the compassionate people. You know, when the cop pulled me over and I was on the wrong side of the road and I was messed up and he looked at me and said, can I pray for you? Instead of writing me a ticket, instead of towing my car, he said, can I pray for you? That's compassion, bro. That's compassion. He could have took my car. He could have took my license, man. He could have did all that to me. And, you know, when I talk about, I tell people about, I thought the Marine Corps failed me when my ex got murdered and all that stuff, when my wife got murdered. But the Marine Corps also saved me because that cop that pulled me over was a Marine. And this is how I know. Because if I'm in my car right now on the corner, you can't even see it. There's a chevron of a master sergeant. Very little about that baby. That's all it is. It sits in the very corner. When he left me, he looked at me and he said, whatever you're going through, you're going to be all right. Slow down. Take care of yourself, master sergeant.
Oh.
Who would know that? Who would know that?
They wouldn't know.
Only a Marine. Nobody else would know that except a Marine. And he may have saved my life that night. You know what I mean? So when I give advice to people, man, the 5 questions will open you up. Whew. Cause it's been my savior, man. It has changed my life because I've been honest about the 5 questions.
Yeah.
I don't hold back. I answer them honestly. And some of the stuff hurts a little bit. And when you get done answering them 5, they probably gonna just eat your insides out. But the more you answer those questions, the more you peel away, the more you'll free yourself. Like I tell people now, weakness is not in talking about mental health. Strength is talking about mental health. I'm stronger every time I do a show. I'm stronger every time I share my story with somebody. I'm not weaker. I'm not weak because I'm a master sergeant that had mental issues. I'm stronger because I'm a master sergeant that can look a Marine in the eye and say, yo, get some help.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is giving you a way to get there. I'm giving you a route to go. I can't help you. That's not what I do. But what I can show you is the effects it had on me so that you don't have to wait to be 64 years old to try to fix yourself. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to wait to be 60. We got people in place now that can help you right now. I didn't. The captain I talked to yesterday, Navy captain, ran the base. You know what he told me? He said, you're right. Because in 87, we had no professionals helping us with mental health. We had none. So I can only imagine what it was like for you in 78. I said, that's what I'm trying to make clear to people.
Yeah.
Now you have help, and it's not going to destroy your career. Like back in my day, you wasn't going to make Master Sergeant if you put something in your record book about some mental health. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Are you crazy? Yes, times have changed. And in the Air Force, you can be in the mental treatment for a year before it ever hits your book.
Yeah. No, I believe it. It's we definitely so there's a SF-86 form, right? For anybody that doesn't understand, that's where your clearance is. And there's a lot of people out there that are afraid to seek help because they're afraid of what it'll do to their clearance. Now, this form was updated, I want to say 2010 or 2012. So that obviously wasn't around in 1987 or 78 or any other time that you served, or 1999 up to the end of your service on active duty. But what it says in there is it says counseling in and of itself can actually be a positive factor in you getting the clearance, right? What really ruins clearances is people's finances and being a Lance Corporal with a Bugatti, right? Because now you're a target to that bot on the internet. That's
that'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it. But, a lot of people will save face, or they'll say, I don't want to seek help because if I do, then it's going to mess up my career. Hey, be as that is, but there's also other options. Obviously, we always got our chaplains, but we also got MFLACs now, and that's not a weird flak jacket. That's a military family life counselor that you can be off the books with to talk to. And they'll give you guidance, and they'll meet you anywhere except for your place of residence. So I guess the options in our arsenal now are so much more vast and
way
deep,
better.
and it's
Tools.
not. Stigma's not dead though. That's for sure. I know that firsthand. Stigma's not
no,
dead.
Stigma's not dead.
or the way people
No.
may, hold you back or look at you or perceive you. You can't control those things, but you being a better version of yourself, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, why waste the time when you can use the time now to actually get better? But to me, it's like Marines once fought with K-bars in the trenches, and they once fought just with bayonets on them. Why would I, in today's technology, why would I be trying to send a unit of Marines out there with nothing but a bayonet when I have drones, when I have air capability, when I have all these other assets? I'd be a fool. So to me, to approach mental health or to approach the enemy of suicide, which has killed far more Marines than the global war on terrorism ever did, like a lot more,
Hmm.
right? I share the stats all the time on my
Yes.
page. If we're not going against this enemy of mental health and or bad mental health or negative or working out our shit or suicide with the most up-to-date weaponry, i.e. what I just described, an MFLAC or some of the doctors we have now, or like you just described with you could
Hmm.
be in the Air Force to take a year for it to even hit your book and all that kind of stuff. We got it. We can't keep fighting the same war with the same weapons is what I'm really getting at. And it may come a time and place where that bayonet's going to come in handy, but hopefully we have all these other weaponry in front of us to where we don't have to get to that point of having to fight it the old school way of suck it up and deal with it. You know what I'm saying? That
Right.
analogy maybe,
Well,
but I think you're picking up what I'm laying
no,
down.
no, 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 no. It's a great analogy. It's a great analogy. We got the tools now. Why are we using primitive tools when we using a rock and a slingshot? When we got sidewinder missiles, you know what I
We
mean?
do.
It makes sense. We have the ability. In that yesterday, there were 8 professionals in there, and the captain praised every one of them. He said, "I leave it to the professionals. If you
Mm-hmm.
need help," and he got on the phone and cussed out some COs that didn't send people to that yesterday.
Oh, that's
He was
dope. I
angry.
like that.
He was physically angry.
Because how
And
they
he
gonna
got
know
on,
if
he
you?
said, "Look, I got 3 weeks."
Didn't know. They didn't learn. We don't know what we
That's
don't
what he
know.
said. He said, "I got 3 weeks and I'm burning every bridge on the way out because I'm going to call each and every one of them because we got a problem on this base with suicides
Mm-hmm.
attempted. And you did not send one to this." And he was upset, man. And I got to talk to him afterwards. And because he lost a brother
Mm-hmm.
he drank himself to death, that was depressed, drank himself to death. And his mother and father never seen it. And he said when he went back to the house, he found bottles all over the house. So I seen him in the back. I think I seen him tear up a couple times with the
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got the tools now. We just got to use them, and we got to change. What did you say? We got to change the mentality of how mental illness is viewed. That's our biggest challenge.
It really is. It really is. There's so much stigma,
Yeah.
and some people use it to save face or to not deal with their own stuff. I get that. I respect that. That sounds good at a cookout when you're trying to save face, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't get able to reenlist because of my clearance, because I sought help." Now, come on, let's tell the full story. Now, you shopping in the Husky section, you actually ain't gonna be able to stay in because you overweight, and there's some other factors there. But
They-
to the young ones or the impressionable ones around you, that becomes the gospel. Now they're like, "Well, I don't want to seek help," and they may need it more than you ever did. So what we doing here? You
exactly.
know what I mean? And the mental stigma or when somebody does have an issue, we treat them with white gloves or we emasculate them or we treat them like, oh, I don't want to stress you out, Top, but could you mind taking out the trash? Fool, I used to be the staff and CYC of this section. What you talking about? Like, that's undermining me. That's like, okay, now you're taking my vulnerability and you're taking me seeking help and now you're using it
Yes.
against me. We got to get rid of
Against
all
me.
of
Yep.
that. We got to get rid of all the stigma. We got to get rid of all the stereotypes. And it's got to be, and some people, they have bad experiences, but I would rather you have a bad experience and maybe potentially be discharged for a mental health reason, but you still be alive, than for you to stay in, white knuckle it, and you potentially hurt yourself or somebody else. And that's a permanent thing we can't take back. And the quality of your
That's
life.
exactly right.
And what you're doing right now, you've been out of the Marine Corps since what, 1999?
99.
That's
99.
that's
Yep.
26 years ago. This man is still serving the Marine Corps, but he's doing it in a different way. You may be retired. No, no, no. He's repurposed his service, and now he's working with Marines.
That's
Probably, I'd argue, maybe in more effective ways than maybe were able to as a staff NCO in some cases, because you're up there sharing with
I
them
think so.
the
Yeah.
realness from your heart. You're sharing your story, and you're becoming stronger from it. But shout out to 1 Degree of Separation, the amazing Brad Bonar and his wife, the beautiful Miss Victoria
So yeah,
because
yeah,
the
yeah.
organization they run, y'all can look them up. 1 Degree of Separation. It's genius because he tied, man. They tie, and Kevin Davis is a comedian. I've worked with y'all. I've served with y'all in some spaces and places. But what they do is they come
And we
out
looking at
and they
working with
give.
you when you wrap that up. Yeah.
I'm praying for it, man, because I think what y'all are doing is
It's
hitting
gonna happen,
points.
bro.
It's the friction. Y'all at the point of friction, and that's what matters, man. And people need to hear, if this mass aren't can acknowledge these things, if this person can acknowledge these things, or what's holding me back. But then they'll also see you could feel that you can't fake what you just described this last hour or so on this podcast. That's a genuine joy and a genuine clarity, you know. Thank God for granting me this moment of clarity, this moment of honor. All right, I did another dizzy. Yeah. But in all seriousness, like you can't fake that, right? You can only earn that and make that. And you did that by addressing things. And one degree of separation, y'all, is genius. It's almost like when they started slicing bread. I'm sure a few people were like, damn, we could have sliced that shit the whole time. The whole time we could have sliced bread, right? Peanut butter and jelly. What
Yeah.
the fuck? What the hell would have thought, right? But that to me is what Brad is leading with and Victoria are leading with one degree of separation. They tie in comedy and art in with the subject of suicide, death by suicide, and depression. And they're addressing it by giving 5 questions, but they warm you up first. They warm you up first with some comedy, so it puts your brain into another motion instead of, hey, everybody, we're going to look at a PowerPoint that we only give once a year. We're going to talk about why you shouldn't kill yourself. Get the fuck out of here. Now, what they do is they come out, each comic does 5 minutes of material, y'all, and you can hit them up and get them to come whatever organization you working at or serving at. But they'll come to you and they give each comic that's on there will give 5 minutes of comedy, and then they'll turn around and they'll ask 5 questions to the panel. And as Brad always says, comedians will talk about anything, right? And they talk about,
Yes, they
what does your
will.
depression feel like? What do others do to make it worse? What do others do to make it feel better? And then now self-inventory time. What do you do to make it feel worse? And what do you do to make it feel better? And then they don't do no Q&A. They'll hang out and rap with you afterwards. But then it's like you could do these same questions. I mean, it's amazing, man. I don't get no money off of this or anything like that, but I like to share good resources of good humans. And the only thing better than knowing good humans is knowing more good humans. So that's why I had to plug it, man.
Exactly, brother. That's all right, man. Look, brother, it's been a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on, brother. I'm
Yes.
looking forward to working with you again. But we gonna one by one, we gonna change it.
Yes.
I'm convinced. I know my calling, and everybody in life you get a calling. And my first calling was being a Marine. I remember now after I wasn't trying to be one. But the calling, once I became one, I knew that's where I needed to be. But now I know exactly what I need to do. And I need to continue this quest. One person, one Marine, one sailor, one Coast Guard, even the Space Force. We just
They
came from
need
Cape
love too.
Canaveral. Yeah, they need love too. They actually exist. I didn't
They
know it
do.
was
And it's
real. I
real.
thought it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
but it's real. It's real. But if we can change, and I see these young officers, and that's who I really like to talk to, because they're going to be the future.
Yes.
And if these young officers can talk about it, it's going to change. If these young NCOs and staff NCOs can talk about it, it's going to change.
Yes.
We got some dinosaurs that we got to get out of there.
Go on now.
And once they out of there, once they out of there, they gone. But we're going to build and we're going to change this thing because we got the people,
That's right.
we got the tools, and we got the drive and the resiliency to get it done.
I love it, man. I love it. And also know this too. What Top's saying, what the Marina comedy Kevin Davis is saying is, and what Cam's saying right now is, we ain't talking about baby and a coddling nobody. We talking about being firm, being fair, being there and caring for them genuinely, having some genuine
Yes.
give a foxtrot leadership. Not your fit rep, not your award, not your next duty station, not your next billet or your next whatever, but how can you take best care of that next warrior that is you are privileged to have under your charge? I always ask this question in closing to everyone, man, and I gotta ask you, what would you say to someone that's right now out there, dealing with things you was dealing with, but worse, somebody out there that's contemplating right now death by suicide and taking their own life? If you had an opportunity to speak to them, what would you say, boss?
If I had a chance to speak to them, I told you, man, I would use the 5 questions. I would get them out of their mindset and just talking. When you're thinking about suicide, it's a plan. You know what I mean? My thing is to break up that plan, to destroy that plan. And all I got to do is just one of those questions can change your whole thought pattern. When I had contemplated suicide, something to break, even when Brad said one day, he said, one guy had said something to him, he said, why don't you do it tomorrow?
Yeah.
Why don't you just do it tomorrow? Not today. Why don't you take a day? How about if you're going to do it and you got to do it, how about tomorrow?
That's
Well,
right.
what did he just do? He just broke that
Broke that whole
thought of
plan
I
up.
got to do it today.
Yeah.
And by tomorrow, and sometimes just a couple seconds can break that
Yeah.
from a person actually doing it. Because sometimes we're asking, I need attention. Well, if a friend called you and they said, man, I'm at my end, what I'm going to do? And I said, man, what's it feel like? What are you feeling right now, physically? They're going to explain what they're feeling. I'm going to say, well, what did somebody do to you to make you feel that way? They're going to say it. When you use your words, what did somebody do to make you feel better? So all I'm doing is personalizing the 5 questions for you, because I know if I get you talking, I'm going to break that cycle of you trying to commit suicide today. I'm going to get you to put it off. I'm going to get you to put it off. And if you put it off to tomorrow, guess what else you can do? You can put it off to the next day.
That's right.
And then you put it off the next, and before you know it, you done found something to live for.
Yes.
And the objective is to get them off the ledge. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Get them off the ledge and get them help.
Yeah.
And that's what the 5 questions, man, it works, bro. When I was going through, when they told me that I could possibly have cancer, and I'll leave with this, and I started reverting back to who I used to be. I shut down. I put the wall up. I put the smile out. I'm happy. Life is good. I'm great. Life wasn't good. I'm contemplating having cancer. You know what I mean? And the VA is not doing what they're supposed to do to help me. So I am eating up inside. So I revert back to, what do I know? Well, back in the day, I used to go get something to drink. You know what I mean? I used to do all of that stuff. Guess what? I don't do that no more. I started reading the questions to myself. And when I read those questions, it identifies what my problems are right away. What did they do to make it worse for me? This is what they did. They diagnosed me. I ain't got no cigarette. I ain't got no match.
This is real life now.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to tell my man I'm doing something, but my man's ready to walk up. I ain't comfortable with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ain't nobody walking up to my car, but and I'm sitting out here in the middle of no goddamn where. No. But what I was saying is I start reading, and I realized I got tools now. See, before I didn't have no tools. I may have took that drive, you know what I mean? But now I got tools. I know my triggers, and I was triggered. That VA stuff took me back to the way the VA did me before. And you telling me you diagnosed me with cancer, but you telling me you can't see me to December the 18th? So the trigger, right away, I went right back to who I used to be. The wall came up, the smiles, the fake, not talking, all of that. And it took me maybe 2 hours, and I was out of it. And then I called Brad, and I said, man, I might have cancer. Then I called my friend. I said, you know why I did that? Because that's something I would have never done in my past.
Yeah. You just kept
I would have never talked about it.
Yeah.
I'd have kept it all to myself. I'd have burned out inside, and I would just ate myself out, the anxiety, everything, all the things that I've been fighting for the last 2 years to be better at and help people with. I got to take my own advice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I can casually talk about it like I talked about it.
You're stronger
casually. Bingo. I'm way stronger for it. So, it is what it is. People are going to judge you, whatever, but I don't care about being judged. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if I'm helping one person by what I open up about on stage. I done my job, man.
Amen.
I met a young Marine yesterday with his wife yesterday, man. She gave me the biggest hug because when I was talking about the person I was and not being a touchy-feely or not showing affection, she kept looking at her husband because that was him. And he looked at me, and he knew I was exactly what I'm talking about. I know who you are,
You can't fake
Marine.
that. You can't fake that.
You can't fake it. I know who you are because I am you.
Yes.
I've been you. And I'm better because I talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm better because I'm honest. I'm better because I can look in the mirror and say, I need help. And once I did that, man, it changed my world. My life changed 100%. I needed help. I got help. Now I can give help.
I love it. I love it, man. I love you, and I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your wisdom. I needed this. If anybody else need this, I need this. And you don't help. You don't help one devil dog today. But I need to get you out that parking lot because shit gets weird sometimes. When you parking lots. So, and I know you drive a nice car and you looking fly because that's you.
I don't even know what city I'm in. Hey.
But I appreciate you, man.
I don't even know what city I'm in. You know what I mean?
Every climbing place, he's living up to our theme song, y'all. He's living up to our hymn. Hey, I love you, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, this has been
Take care, baby.
Episode of Real Resilience Talk Podcast. And as always, we are sponsored by Nobody, baby. Just inspired by the First Amendment. Y'all be good. Keep smiling. Keep sweat. That's right.